How much are you willing to lose to pull the time forward and to expedite your learning process? You will not get this right your first go. So just know you're going to fail, and that's okay. As far as expectations goes, that is a math equation. There is no golden rule, but the basic premise is if you put more money in, more people will see it, and you'll get more feedback about what works and what doesn't work. Think of yourself as a scientist. So your job right now is to be a full-time scientist, and your experiment is how do I make these ratios happen? So tell me about your ChatGPT conversation.
Yeah, so I wanted to follow up with an assignment that you gave me before, which was to essentially identify the ideal prospect. In our language, we like to call them the avatar, right?
Yeah.
And so you gave me that challenge before and said, hey, look, what does your ideal clientele look like? What is that profile, right? And so I took that and ran with it, and I decided to share with you via email just one important piece that was given to me, and I wanted to unpack that with you, right?
Cool.
And I was curious to see what other follow-up, input you had. But what really caught me, like what really, I guess, touched me, for lack of better words, was the way that they identified that ideal prospect. So they gave me a series of questions, right, and said, hey, tell me more about their story. What do they look like? And I answered a series of questions, and chat basically said, hey, look, based off on what's important to you and where you are in your life, it's important for you to find people that share a similar mindset, right? So it goes into, hey, look, essentially your people look like this. And here's what's important to them. They're intelligent. They value relationships. They think long-term. They appreciate expertise. They want guidance. They have enough financial complexity to make the conversations worth interesting, are much more focused on building wealth rather than merely solving a short-term problem today. They see mortgages as part of a much broader financial strategy. And then it says, this is a very distinct type of person. And so what I really liked about that is that basically kind of gave me a whole new lens at which I'm looking at my daily operation, right? And I was like, oh man, the mortgage is only the vehicle to help me find the people that essentially are going to make my life rewarding. It helped me understand that that's really what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to find my people that are going to make my life rewarding for the next 10 to 15 years. And then how do I use mortgages as a tool to do that thing? Not the reverse, not the mortgage first, people second, or the reward second, and say, no, this is what my life is. This is how I can get my life purpose. And then here's how we can use mortgages as a tool to do that. And so the next step from there would be, hey, how can we create content or ads to help attract to get in front of these particular folks? And so that's not something that I have a whole lot of expertise with. That's what, I'm happy to get your take on. But yeah, it was just a really fun exercise. It did more than just gave me something to work on. It really changed the whole course of my day and my phone calls today. So it was fun. It's been fun. It's been a fun day.
Cool, dude. That's awesome, man. Glad to hear that. So where do you like to start? Tell me specifically, how can I be most helpful to you?
There's a model where you basically design it as a tournament with your ads, right? And we can kind of go into this so the audience understands a little bit better, but you design kind of like this tournament for ads, you launch them all at the same time, and then whoever the winning ad is, you basically now beta test your ads going forward against what's currently working, right?
Yeah.
And so I'm curious to ask, okay, if I take that up, execute that in July, let's say, what do you think is possible for me after a 90-day window, doing that carefully, strategically, looking at it carefully and really putting time into it. That's not something that I have any expertise in. And so I'm curious to say, hey, look, can you help me set the right expectation? That way I'm more excited, maybe not frustrated at the end of 90 days.
Yeah. So there's a few ways we can look at this, right? So we got our tournament schedule, right? So we got, I don't know, however many, there's going to be a winner out of these, there'll be a winner out of these, there'll be a winner out of these. Then we're going to pit these together. And then eventually, we'll have our winner over here. And then that's going to be kind of our benchmark. That's the best campaign. And so what you want to do is you want to figure out what keeps your customers awake at night. So for somebody that is your avatar, that's interested in, getting a mortgage for the purposes of building wealth, what questions do they have? What pains do they have? What is going to be interesting or helpful to them? Is it going to be a survey? Is it going to be a document? Is it going to be a report? Is it going to be a conversation? You have to decide what that is. And AI can help you. You can, hash out some ideas. But the one important thing, Al, is that you will not get this right your first go. So just know you're going to fail, and that's okay. Because what we're looking for early, like, directional correctness. So let's just say that, these campaigns, one is survey, one's a call, like a 30-minute call with you. And there's a lot of ways you can test this. One could be a report, et cetera, et cetera. What you're looking to do is you're trying to see which one of these resonates the best. Now, one of the tricky things about testing ads is you don't want to change up too much stuff at once. So maybe this whole thing could be just ran towards the survey, or maybe you want to get a little bit earlier traction. So maybe you use the same visual asset, but you have different offers that the visual asset is appealing to. Because what you don't want is you don't want a different offer, which the survey, a different headline, a different body, a different picture or video. Then you go here
Yeah.
and you have a different picture, a different video, different headline. And then like, oh, this one's better. Well, you don't know if it's better because the survey's better. You don't know if it's better because the image was better. So you want to try to isolate as many variables as you can. So you're just testing like one thing at a time. But essentially, this is what we're going to do. We're going to take the different strategies. We're going to pit them against each other. Some of these are going to suck right out the gate and you kill those immediately. Some of them are going to be worth pursuing more. And then maybe you kill those and expand the ads and make them better. So you're like, wow, like a lot of people were interested in this survey. A lot of people were clicking on it. Like, how much of a home can I afford if I'm trying to retire by age 40? Maybe that's the survey they take. Or I'm trying to build a net worth of $1 million by age 40. How does a mortgage play into that? Click here to find out. Like, whatever it is, you create the content and then you just run it through this testing cycle. Now, as far as reasonable expectations, because I didn't answer your question head on there, I wanted to kind of address that first.
Yeah, sure.
As far as expectations goes, that is a math equation. So ultimately, and I actually just made a long form piece of content on this one instead, I'll send to you. But ultimately, what you're looking to do is you're trying to take a box and you're trying to put money into the box. And you're trying to get enough money out of the box, actually bigger money. So you're trying to get enough money out of the box to pay for your ads and the overhead and your time working the deal and your time nurturing the relationship and all other costs that you have. That's what you're trying to do at a high level overview. So if you know your average mortgage, you're going to be making $10,000 from underwriting, and you know that your hard cost on that is $5,000. Well, that means the absolute max that you can pay to acquire customers is $5,000 through this process. Now, you don't want to do that because that means you won't have any profit as a business owner, and you want to make profit. So part of this is you want to decide like what is actually realistic to you. But let's just say that you decide that you're willing to do a 50-50 split. So you want 2.5K, what's called your CAC or your customer acquisition cost. And then you want 2.5K profit. And then like, obviously your 5K will be like what you pay yourself or your team to actually underwrite and do the work, right? But this is just like, you sit there on your couch, do nothing, and this shows up at the end of the day. So if that equation looks good for you, then the math equation that you're trying to solve for is how can I run this play for $2,500 to get a $10,000 mortgage? Does that make sense? So we work our way backwards.
Right.
So there's a bunch of actions that are going to happen. So obviously you're not going to be able to get like a one-to-one close. So maybe what happens is you have this funnel, right? And maybe we make the funnel. So this is our sales process. So we have, step A, step B, step C, step D, whatever. Then they pay you money, close, whatever it is. Each one of these is going to have some leakage, right? So some people are going to go in the funnel. They're going to ghost you. They're not even going to reply to you. Some people are going to reply, but then they'll drop off, or they'll say, you're too whatever, too cool, too not me. I don't have enough money. I actually can't qualify, whatever it is. And then certain people are going to drop off. You're trying to get as many people as you can out the bottom of this funnel. Now, the same principle applies to your ad campaigns. And so let's say you need, 1,000 people to see your ads for 10 of them to take action. So now your funnel's getting steep. Out of those 10, maybe 5 will go to the next step. And then maybe, it'll be 3 and maybe 1 for a close. So you can reverse engineer this. You're like, okay, so I can't pay any more than 2.5K for this to happen. So how much can I pay for this step? It's like, well, 800. You can also reverse that, which means this step needs to be 500, which means this step needs to be 250. And this means we need to, be paying whatever it is, $25 for people to see, or sorry, $2.50 for every person that sees it. Does that make sense? So you're trying to work backwards on the campaign. So as far as your expectations and how do you set proper expectations, just know that you are on a quest to make this math ratio happen, and you don't know the path. So imagine that you're in a maze. So when you go in a maze, you know where the starting point is and you know where the ending point is, but you don't know the twists and turns to get there. And so you're trying to go through this maze, understanding this is the framework you're going to follow, this tournament structure, and also understanding you're going to fail a lot. Some of your ads are going to be horrible. I've been running paid ads for 10 years, dude. And I'll make an ad that I'm like, this is going to be a banger. This is going to be amazing. And I run it and it's awful. It's like the worst ad ever. So you're going to get things like that where people are like, Al, this is a scam. This isn't good. Whatever it is. Some people are like, I'm not this demographic. Some people are like, why would I even want this? This is so stupid. And sometimes you'll make an ad that people are like, wow, this is really helpful. Thank you. And so you're looking for those types of feedback to know what is working, what's not working. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Cool. What questions do you have about that so far?
I would expect it to be a harder question to answer because, you're not like in this particular vertical, right? But like, what would you say would be an efficient ad spend per day? If I was just to do it on Meta, for instance, like, do you have like any input there when it comes to, hey, this should probably be your daily like minimum to at least put yourself out there and just to try to collect the data enough so that you can scale this thing as close to this model that you're showing within a 90-day period? Like, anything there? It's a very specific question, and I know, but I'm like, hey, That would be my next one.
Yeah. So the answer to that one, here's the math equation for this. Time. So if you do $5 per day, you can still hit this metric. But if it takes you $2,500 to get a customer and you're doing $5 a day, it's going to take you a year to get one customer.
Yeah.
If you want to get one customer per day, I would not advise doing this right out the gate, by the way.
Yeah.
But you might be $2,500 per day. So you're looking for this ratio, and then you have to decide how quickly do you want to learn. So there is no golden rule, but the basic premise is if you put more money in, more people will see it, and you'll get more feedback about what works and what doesn't work. Now, the dangerous thing is you are very unlikely to be right your first round of testing.
Right.
It's going to take some time to filter it out. So the
Yeah.
question is more of how fast do you need to move? How much are you willing to lose to pull the time forward and to expedite your learning process? And so 100 per day is 3,000 per month. That gives you an ad budget. If you're testing 4 ads against each other, it gives you $25 per day roughly. After about 2 weeks, you will hopefully get some sort of action happening on your campaigns. And what we're looking for is like a statistically significant result. So one of the problems that a lot of people have when they start running ad campaigns is they say, oh my God, I ran campaign A and it got me $200 per results. Campaign B is $600 per results. Campaign C is $300 per results. Therefore, campaign A is the winner. And it's like, well, how much money did you put into each? It's like, well, I put $600 into campaign B, $200 into campaign A, and $300 into campaign C. It's like, well, that's not statistically significant, because what if you let campaign B run for another day and you get 4 people that actually opt in, and now all of a sudden instead of $600 per result, you actually are at $100 per result, but you cut the test too soon.
Yeah.
Now, but what you can say though is I think in a factor of like 5 to 10x. So 5x to 10x. If campaign B is 5x worse than campaign A, I usually kill campaign B, and I take that money and I reallocate it to campaign A. So I'll give you some perspective about like my portfolio business. So right now we pay about $220 for every customer we acquire. I hired a new ad buyer because I didn't want to do all the meta ads myself. And so I brought them into the business. I paid them like $10,000 up front or whatever.
Yeah.
And I told them, okay, this is the metric that I'm looking to make work. And I said, I'm currently paying $220 per customer. This is what we're trying to do. Well, this guy comes back to me 2 weeks later, super tickled. And I was very involved in the campaign up to this point, so I knew they weren't going well. But he said, Keenan, I've been getting you these great leads at an affordable price. Like, look how awesome this is. I'm like, affordable price? Like, bro, here's the thing, dude. So he was like, I'm getting you a lead for $50 and you're paying $220. Well, $20 is what we're currently paying, 20 to 22. But for a close, you're getting 220. And so he's like, I'm bringing you $50 leads. These are amazing. I said, okay, first off, buddy, let's talk about this, because I'm only paying 22 per lead. So right out the gate, you're 2x worse than me, 2.5x worse.
Right.
It's like, and that's okay, because like 2x worse, you can make that a better campaign and you can refine it to make it better over time. But I said, here's the issue with the leads. You have a quality issue. For every $50 lead, only 1 in 20 freaking respond.
Uh-huh.
What's my cost per lead? It's $1,000. And he said, I don't know how to do math. And so I fired his ass. I'm like, bro, it's $1,000.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm paying $22 on Google to get what you do for $1,000 on Meta. You are 50x worse than my current process. The campaign is over. It's dead.
Yeah.
And he said, no, we just need more time. No, because you will not 50x improve this campaign. It's dead. And so the guy got really upset at me. He was like, dude, like, I don't care. You're gone. And I fired him.
So I immediately have a question then for you, based just on that story alone, Keenan. It's like, would you say that I should start? Would you suggest that I start with Meta? Because it seems like in that example there, you had better luck. I don't know. It just seems like it was more efficient to do the Google thing. So I'm like, should I just start with Google ads over Meta if I had to start anywhere? Do you have a suggestion there?
So your question was, based on my experience, Google is by far outperformed Meta for me. Would I recommend still starting with Meta? So here's the thing. So you have Google and Meta. What do you think the user behavior is of a Google user?
The behavior, like just
what are they doing when you're on Google? What are you doing?
I mean, usually searching things, like using it as a resource to search stuff.
What kind of stuff though?
Like
think of your avatar.
I guess like a service or a question regarding the service that I'm looking for. I guess that's kind of what comes to mind. Like, I'm just thinking, like, what did I use in the last 24 hours for? Okay, to find a restaurant near me, to find a service that I needed, a question that I had. Like,
so they're looking for a result, right? Exactly. So there's something specific that they're looking for. You don't just you're not like, I got 5 minutes to kill, I'm going to pull up Google and start asking random questions. Like, you don't do that. Nobody does that.
Yeah.
Now, what's the primary behavior on Meta?
I guess to engage with other people's social media is what I guess,
Yeah. And so this right here is a high intent audience. So someone is looking at getting a service, a problem solved, an answer to a question. They're there. They're not killing time. They're there for a reason. With Meta, they're killing time. So the reason they're there is usually, entertainment, or maybe it's connecting with friends, or maybe it's prospecting for their business, or whatever it is. But you don't think, oh, I need mortgage help. I need to learn about, what I can pre-qualify for. I'm going to go to Meta and start just scrolling through my feed. So it's a low intent audience, which means, like, although they might be looking for, whatever it is you sell, they're not in the process of searching for it right there.
Right.
And so your ad is going to go across their feed or their stories or whatever, and you need to try to hook them and capture their attention. If you're not successful at it, then you just disappear into the oblivion and they don't even remember you exist 2 seconds later. You're gone. And so it's low intent where Google is high intent. Google ad quality doesn't need to be as good, because if you're like, hey, click here to find out what you pre-qualify for in 5 minutes, you don't have to worry about like what's your video look like, what's your hook. Like, it's a very simple ad, very simple structure. Now, the problem is, first off, this is easier to launch for yourself. And because it's easier to launch for yourself, guess what else that means?
It's easier to watch for everybody else.
Yeah, it's easier for everyone else to launch too. Exactly. And so what happens is you are going to have more competition for the same search terms in Google. And when there's more competition, what do you think Google's going to do?
I don't know.
They're going to charge you a lot more for it.
It's kind of okay.
Yeah. So my business, there's not many people running ads for my business, so I don't have to pay very much. That's why I get $22 Google leads.
Yeah.
But for 2x profit, it's not the same. It's very expensive to get in front of people. And so 2x profit, I don't think Google's the play. We're testing some Google stuff. We're not like writing it off, but I have much more confidence in Meta. And also, there's not a lot of people that are doing a Google search for, how do I find if my operations in my business are broken and causing me to leak profit? No one's searching that.
Right.
Whereas like, how much of a loan can I pre-qualify for? People are searching for that. So you can get in front of people that are actively looking for that, and you can solve that problem. The problem with that is you're going to have people that are not qualified. You're going to have people that are outside your avatar category. So you're going to have a lot of problems that come with doing this. So there's a lot of nice things about Google. There's a lot of not nice things. But another issue with this is that there's a fixed demand. So if there are 100 people in Utah searching for mortgage interest rates today, what is the maximum amount of searches that you can be seen for? 100, right? With Meta, it's basically unlimited. So what you're trying to do with Meta is you're trying to find people, you're trying to intercept them when you know they're your ideal avatar and they're in a situation where they might be looking to work with you, and you want to disrupt their pattern, get them interested in learning more about you, and you want to start educating them about why you're the one to work with. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So let's just say we sell like a silly service. Like, I don't know, like we sell a service, make your tires super shiny.
I love it.
Well, let's say in Google, there's like one person per day searching, how do I make my tires super shiny? Like, not a lot of people think about that. But on Meta, there's a lot of people that have car tires. And if they see a before and after of a super shiny tire and a not super shiny tire, and they're like, wow, that's really cool, I want my tires to be super shiny, you might actually create a big market for that. But you're not going to do that in Google. Nobody's looking for how to make my car tires super shiny.
I see.
I haven't fact checked that, but I'm like willing to bet money that that's not a demand. And so if you have that type of business, then you're stuck generating that demand, showing people this is what I can do for you. You're in an interesting situation, Al, because there is demand for what you're doing. It's a very well-established space, but if you want to appeal to your avatar, which is what I recommend, it's going to be harder to do through Google because maybe 1 in 100 people fits your avatar. But on Meta, you carve out, like you create content that your avatar would be interested in, and you carve out your demand, you carve out your marketplace. So either strategy can work. There are pros and cons. Google is much easier to do. You can launch Google today. You can get leads. But so can every other person that's in the mortgage space.
Right.
And so you just have to know there's pros and cons with all of it. Meta, you're going to take a lot more testing and you're going to have a lot more trial and error and failure. But one interesting thing about like your situation in particular, you have a great personality. Do you know how hard it is to convey I have a great personality through Google ads? It's nearly impossible because it's just text. Like you have like 25 characters. How are you going to communicate why you should work with me, Al, instead of ABC Mortgage Co. or Johnny down the road or whatever? Like how are you supposed to know that I'm the one you want to work with 25 characters? Well, then you get into things like landing page optimization. So like there's ways to do it, but from an ad perspective, you're going to end up paying for a lot of traffic. Some of it will be your avatar, some of it won't, some of them will be good, some of them won't. And then you have to filter it out. From here, the goal is to make content that only attracts the people that would resonate with you and to get them more, like to build trust and to get them more invested in working with you specifically.
On a budget, like without spending $2,500 a day? Is it within reason to say, hey, I think in the next 90 days, given a respectable but also like a modest budget where I'm trying, right? Like we're trying to collect the data and trying to
Yeah.
refine things and trying to play the long game, like starting today. Like, do you think I could pull? I'm just like, hey, would it be possible to pull 2 to 3 ideal avatar people my way in the next quarter?
I would hope so.
Running this model, you know?
Yeah, I would certainly think so. But once again, it just comes down to testing, right? And like sometimes, like, dude, I am like hundreds of variations deep
Uh-huh.
in my business to get ads that work. Like they work now, but it took me a year and a half to get them to the point they are at now. But I was getting customers within a week. I wasn't doing it profitably. So you might find, going back to our ratio, if you want to keep your customer acquisition costs under $2,500, so you actually make money in your business, you might find that your first customers might cost you $5,000, maybe 10 grand, but you're looking for directional correctness. You're like, can I at least get something? And is it somewhat working? And then you improve it from there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay.
You're not going to get it right your first go. Think like a bullseye, right? Like you have a bullseye. Like your first arrows might end up, or darts or whatever, might end up out here. But as long as you're hitting the target, you can start making it a little better until one day you hit the bullseye. And who knows, maybe you pay $500 for a lead that closes. And so maybe you're just like, dude, I make, 10x, 20x of what I pay Meta or Google or whatever platform for every dollar it goes in. Like that's great. Then you scale. That's when you start adding more fuel, and then eventually you'll break your business because you will need more people. And then you figure out, how do I onboard more people? Oh, I onboarded these people, they suck. So now I got to figure out how to hire so I can get the right people. And then, oh, now I need to train the people because I got the right people, the right personalities, but they broke stuff and they did things wrong. And so that's where a business starts getting fun, right? So at any given point in your business, you have one weakest link. Right now, yours is getting more people to know who you are and getting more people interested in working with you. But the goal is to eventually solve this link, which will then break another part of your business. Another part will be the weakest link. Then you put all of your time and resources into solving that part while your team and your systems run the parts you've already fixed. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So there's the quote. I don't know if this is true, but supposedly Thomas Edison had 1,000 failed attempts at inventing the light bulb. Like, think of yourself as a scientist. So your job right now is to be a full-time scientist. And your experiment is, how do I make these ratios happen? And so you're going to use your brain, your knowledge, your experience. You're going to talk to people. You're going to use AI, and you're going to create your best guess on how to make this happen. And you're going to be wrong, but you're going to learn something. You're going to take that knowledge, you're going to plug it back into your process, and you're going to learn more. And then ideally, over time, you're getting directionally more correct. And eventually, like, bam, that's how you make the light bulb. And it's going to be painful because every time someone clicks on your ad, you're losing money, and that sucks.
Yeah.
I'm making over $1 million a year, and it still sucks for me. I hate it. And my ads right now are making between 11 to 12x in my business. So I put $1 in, I get 11 to 12 out. It's a pretty good return on investment. And I still hate seeing money go into this.
Yeah.
No, it's painful, dude. Growth sucks.
But good to know that's something that you experience even today. I'm like, oh, okay, I could be a little bit more forgiving with myself.
Yeah. You look at a business and you're like, damn, how did you get to where you are? It's like, well, you did a really shitty thing over and over and over and over, something that most people would not do or they'd give up on. And you did that over and over and you didn't stop, and eventually you ended up there.
Yeah.
And one day people will be saying that about you. And they'll be like, Al, what was the secret sauce? And you're going to laugh because you're like, it was like 1,000 things, dude. And a lot of suck and a lot of risk and a lot of fear and a lot of crying and a lot of stress. And is this going to work?
Yeah.
But one day, if you don't give up, it will work.
Yeah.
We don't know how long it will be. Maybe it's a year. Maybe it's 5 weeks. We don't know. Maybe it's 10 years. We don't know. But as long as you don't make the same mistake over and over, and as long as you don't give up, you'll get there.
It feels good to hear, man. Yeah, this has been great.
Yeah. So I don't have the magic numbers for you. Just looking at it, just gut reaction. If you can get a customer for under 2,500, I don't think you'll be mad about that. And so I would say, okay, my quest is, as a scientist, because you're now a full-time scientist, Al, my quest is figure out, how do I get a customer for $2,500 or less? And so then you can break that down into the steps of your funnel. Like, okay, I need to talk to 5 people. I need to, for every one that closes, or whatever it is. And some of this is just going to be testing. Like, a lot of it's going to be a guess right now, and you're going to be wrong. But eventually, as you do this over and over, you'll be right. There's a time in my business, I didn't know if I could get anyone to pay me money through Google Ads. And now we're going to do 6 million a year in revenue, and I'll do over $1 million a year in profits. Like, yeah, I 100% know. But now the game's changing because now there's AI. And it's like, okay, well, how do I do this AI thing? Will I be able to get people to pay me money through AI for that same business? I don't know. It's still to be determined. I believe I can, and I'm willing to figure it out because I know that one day saying Google it will be a thing of the past. Instead, we'll all have our little AIs, whether it's Claude or ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever thing happens, and all of our information is going to come from those. And so then you're going to have to learn, how do you get displayed in the results on the language learning model or the AI. And it will take the same process, and you're gonna have to go and figure that out. And then there'll be another social media platform eventually. We don't know what it will be, but eventually there will be another one. And you're gonna do the same process, and you're gonna figure it out. And you're going to test, and you're going to be a scientist. You're going to be like, okay, based on what I know, this is my best guess. And then you're going to see, oh, that didn't work. That sucked. Oh, that worked pretty good. Hey, I'm interested in that. Let's keep doing that. See what happens. And over time, you're going to get more and more clarity as far as what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, I think it's kind of gamifying it for me by calling myself a scientist, for this first little while. So I like that take on it. So I appreciate that.
Yeah. Now, one thing I'll say as well, I don't think everyone should run their own ads. So I'm not necessarily advocating that for you. AI makes it very easy to do compared to what it has been in the past. You can literally log into Meta business ads or just your Facebook account. You can take a screenshot, like, talk to me like I'm 3 years old. I don't know what to do. What button do I click next? And it will say, click this button. And you click that, you screenshot, you upload it into the AI. You're like, what do I do next? And then it will give you 20 steps. You're like, no, I'm 3 years old, one step at a time, dude. And then it will go. And then it will walk you through the process of anything you want to do. It can teach you how to do it. So the nice thing about running your own ads is just know you're going to lose money doing this.
Yeah.
But if you run your own ads, at least you get the knowledge from running them.
Yeah.
If you hire someone else, you're still going to lose the money, but you don't end up with the lesson.
Yeah.
So then you just blow money for nothing.
Yeah.
So at the very least, I think if you keep these principles in mind, I think you'll be educated enough to choose a good ad buyer and to at least hold them accountable. So if some ad buyer comes to you and it's like, hey, Al, I'm getting people to book an appointment with you for $500. You're like, yeah, but only 1 in 10 show up.
Yeah.
And then not every one of those closes. You're not meeting the goal, dude.
Yeah.
So you can hold them accountable if you keep these in mind. And if you run them yourself, then you know the strategy or the frameworks to use to make it happen.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That sounds like paying for the lesson, paying for the knowledge. So I'm like, oh, okay. I could see it from that place. And then I guess I'm a little less attached to the whole 2,500 because it's a skill that I hope to acquire in whatever time, like that.
Yeah. And then, that learning will only, it will never work against you in your life. At the end of the day, the game of entrepreneurship is the game of collecting the skills that you need to make your business happen.
This is good, man.
Yeah. If you rewound the clock 12 years and you saw my younger self, you'd see a guy that works so much harder than I do today, but I get way better results today. It's because I've developed the skills. And now I have the skills to do this kind of stuff. And I can run a campaign, and I know, 2X Profit, right now we're running a campaign that my expectation is for it to cost me $50,000. I'm $5,000 into it. I'm like, bro, I'm only 10% of the way there.
Yeah.
Of course I haven't nailed it. It's going to cost me at least $50,000. But once I do that, the results are going to be massive. And so it's worth putting in the time because I know if I have a scalable system where I can put, 2,500 in and get 10,000 out, or, 100 in, get 500 out, or whatever the ratios end up being, that's going to be worth a fortune to me in the long term. And so I'm willing to embrace the suck and do what's needed to make it happen.
Yeah. I think one thing that stood with me was the term that you used about essentially paying to bring time closer. I can't remember how you put it.
Pulling time forward, dude.
There you go, pulling time forward. I was like, oh man, that one really stuck because I'm like, okay, if you come with that mindset, that frame, hey, we're here to pull time forward. I feel like it's a lot more. Your day to day is a lot more forgiving, and it's harder to get frustrated with the things that can be frustrating from time to time as a young entrepreneur. So I do appreciate that wisdom. That was good.
Yeah. Does your business feel stuck or plateaued right now? Like something's broken, something's a bit off, but maybe you're not quite sure what it is. Well, if so, I want to invite you to check out the Profit Leak Detector Assessment. It's a free 5-minute assessment that will ask you a variety of questions about your business, and it will use a series of algorithms and calculations to figure out where the most likely broken aspect of your business is hiding. Our entire reason of existing here at 2X Profit is to help service-based business owners to 2X their profit in 12 months or less. But we know that sometimes business owners can be so attached to the problem and they can be so close to it that sometimes they don't see the forest through the trees, and they need an outsider perspective to analyze the business and see what's broken. So the Profit Leak Detector Assessment will do just that. Like I said, it's completely free. It only takes 5 minutes. We're not going to ask you for any contact information at all. So we're not going to reach out to you unless you reach out to us wanting help. Go check it out. It's at 2xprofit.com/assessment, or you can simply click on the link below.